two more teen reads for you. These are from the 2011-2012 Florida Teen Reads. The first one in this talk is Girl in Translation by Jean Kwok. I love this kind of book. This is a story where, you move to another country and you have to figure out the culture, you have to, make your way, figure out the language. Well, Girl in Translation is that kind of story. Kimberly Chang and her mother moved to the United States from Hong Kong. Now they have some wealthy relatives, and the relatives pay to move them over. And at first they stay in the house with their relatives, and the relatives say, oh, you are so lucky, we have found the perfect place for you to live. You are so lucky that an apartment opened up in this particular building. Oh, you are so lucky. So they put them in the car and they drive them, and as they're driving, they're getting further and further away from their relatives' very beautiful, gorgeous house. It's getting darker, it's getting dirtier, the homes are getting to be more shabby. They take her into this apartment. There's no heat in this apartment. There are lots of roaches in this apartment. There's a little teeny stove that barely works. The windows are broken out. They don't even have windows in the windows. It's really awful, an awful, awful, awful situation. Not only that, the relatives are allowing her mother to work for them in their factory, paying her slave wages to make t-shirts, and it's really a very, very disgusting situation. Well, Kimberly knows that there is one talent that she has, and that talent is school. So she knows that if she can continue to do well in school, then she can help her mother. Right now, the only way she's helping her mother is she goes to school all day, and then when she gets out of school, she gets on the subway, she takes the subway to the factory, and then she helps her mother in the factory after school. It's really not a great, pleasant life. So she goes to school, and you think, great. The teachers, they're going to recognize her. Well, she gets into this school, and there's nobody there who's willing to help her. They're like, what, you don't speak English? What's wrong with you? So she really has a big trial to overcome. Girl in Translation takes Kimberly from age 11 all the way through college. The other book is called Bruiser by Neil Schusterman. Bruiser is about a kid whose name is actually Brewster. And Brewster is this kid, he's the kind of kid where there are always a lot of tales being told about him. He's really big. And he's very quiet. And so people kind of assume that he's slow, but they also assume that he's deranged. It's like he's been voted most likely to become a serial killer. Well, there are two teenagers, twins, Bronte and Tennyson, a girl and a guy. And as you can imagine, 15-year-old twin, brother and sister, they don't get along very well. Bronte has agreed to go out on a date with Brewster, and Tennyson is furious. It's like, you are not going out with that maniac. And he's trying to get his parents involved, and she's like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going out with him. So she goes on a date with him, and she trips, and she kind of hurts her ankle, and she gets up, and she thinks oh, I'm probably going to be limping, and her leg is fine. Nothing's wrong with her leg. But now Brewster is limping. She says to him, what's wrong with your leg? He's like, oh, no, something I did. No, don't worry about it. Well, Tennyson decides that he is going to follow Brewster because he has got to get something on him, because he's got to make his sister Bronte see she cannot go out with this animal. So he follows him home one day. Now, he lives out in the country, and they actually have a bull for a pet. And as they come upon the house, Brewster's little brother is there, and he's crying because the bull has died. And out comes their Uncle Hoyt. They live with their uncle. And their Uncle Hoyt is yelling, and he's like, get that kid off that bull, he's sick, and just forget about it. Well, so Brewster tries to get his little brother away from the bull, and he's pulling him off and trying to carry him away. And Uncle Hoyt gets mad, and all of a sudden he whips off his belt, and he's going to take that belt buckle, and he's going to start beating on the little kid, and Brewster he's not making a move to do anything. And so all of a sudden, Tennyson yells, stop! And everybody turns and looks at him. You're going to have to read the rest to find out. Two more great books from the Teen Reads.